Good morning and welcome back to Mark's Garden UK. It's a Saturday morning and it's quite early. Most of the world is still in bed. The birds are not still in bed, as you'll hear in this video. One of my favourite things to do when it's this early is to get up, put my wellies on and go out in the garden and exercise some mindfulness and being in the present and have a look at the little minutiae and the tiny details. And so in this video I'm going to share with you some of nature's little miracles in my plot. So let's first of all focus in on these little alpines, Sempervivens. I found this trough in the front garden at Rose Cottage and I dug it out and I planted it out with these Sempervivens, which had actually survived for nearly 15 years in a tiny pot. Anyway, I gave them a new lease of life and I wanted to show you how these propagate. They call them hens and chicks, and this is why. Look at that there. This is Arachnoideum, the hen, the mother plant in the middle. Look at these tiny little babies coming out of the side there. And these are the chicks, and that's why they call them hens and chicks. A hen with a little flock of chicks. Look there. And the same is true on this one, the common house leek. Look, a tiny little baby there. One of nature's little miracles. Now, let's go and have a look at this lilac tree. And there's a bird sat on top of it at the moment. I don't know if you can see it. Quite tame, some of the birds in this area. Anyway, the lilac tree, it was rotten, it was dying, it was leaning dangerously to one side, so I had to chop the top off. But look at this now, nature's little miracle. Zoom in at the trunk here, and we can see new growth just here. Look at that, isn't that amazing? There's my neighbour. Beautiful. This will grow up and form a completely rejuvenated bush with beautiful new lilac blossoms like this. I wish you could smell this. It's absolutely gorgeous. But there we are, look. Nature, strong, resolute, fighting for survival and producing these beautiful new branches. Look at this over here. This is how they start. From old wood, dead wood effectively, it would appear. But not dead at all, full of life, waiting to burst out. Another one of nature's little miracles in a lilac tree. Now we're going to have a look at the newly planted wildflower and sunflower meadow underneath that Bramley apple tree, but in passing, let's have a look at these. Aren't these gorgeous? Beautiful Spanish bluebells and white bluebells. Aren't they gorgeous and incredible? Only 2 weeks ago, I placed this circle of rocks here and I sown wildflower seeds in the soil. And in these big boxes here, which were raised beds last year, I grew some vegetables in them. I planted some sunflower seeds, tiny seeds, a third of the size of my little fingernail. Look at them already, 2 weeks. And we have sunflowers. These are not giant sunflowers, these are sunflowers of all different shapes and sizes, but already sunflowers which are growing very healthily. I'm hoping that by the end of the summer, these will be 2 or 3 feet high and they will provide food for the birds for the winter. And not just the birds, some of those seeds will fall on the ground and feed the rodents. Look at that, all from a tiny seed. Nature's little miracle. Here's another one just beginning. Life everywhere. And all around in the earth, next to these sunflowers, we have the beginnings of a wildflower meadow. Tiny, tiny, tiny little seedlings, and you have to focus in. You have to be present and mindful and in the moment, and you have to look for the detail in order to see it. In a sense, you've got to stop worrying about the past or the future and just think about the now. A lesson in life, really. Isn't that amazing? Sunflowers there, look. Nature's little miracle. Now, I'm going to take you to the compound, which is the area of the garden where I do quite a lot of work. And I have a gunerra, which I thought was dead. Let's go and have a look at it now. It's over there in that green pot. I'd written this plant off. It was a goner. It spent the winter out here and it's gone through a very severe frost. We've had temperatures down to -10, and this has had prolonged exposure to those temperatures. But look, now when I look at these leaves and you think how small and inconspicuous they are, just imagine the potential these leaves have got. This is a gunerra. These leaves can grow to 3 feet in diameter, and I thought that was dead, and it was fooling me because it's clearly not dead. It's very much alive. And look here, this is overnight. This wasn't here yesterday. It's pushed the soil out of the way, and there is a leaf waiting underneath the ground to emerge. Incredible. Isn't nature a powerful force? Over near the wildlife pond, which I've just put in, and I'm waiting for the plants to arrive, there are 2 buddleia butterfly bushes. They grow up here, and I've just hacked them down to the ground, hacked away quite indiscriminately. And you wonder how a plant can survive that when you've given it such brutal treatment. There's all the cuttings, which I've left next to it as a kind of a twig pile for the wildlife, and there are birds up in these trees everywhere. And these piles of twigs will provide food in the form of insects and invertebrates. Let's have a look at the top of this buddleia. That tiny little stem there, no more than 1 inch high, will grow 9 feet. 9 feet in 1 year. All that growth in 1 year. And at the top of each of those will be a beautiful bloom, and that bloom will provide nectar for lots of pollinating insects, especially butterflies, but not just butterflies. And they will be all around this area of the garden, and I'll be able to come and observe them. Absolutely stunning. This plant has such huge potential. And here's one of the blooms from last year. Spent bloom. Not to worry, that will have provided some seeds on the ground for small rodents to eat during the cold winter months. But again, nature, a powerful force, and here evidence of that all over the top of this buddleia. Look at that there. There's one. Look at this here in front of my finger. Another tiny little green bud. Another tiny little power pack of energy waiting to sprout up and grow. I'm taking you now to some bamboos, which are not looking at their best, if I'm perfectly honest. And I put these bamboos in back end of last year. It's going to form a nice dense hedge. And there's the bamboo barrier at the bottom, which prevents this invasive plant from spreading too quickly. This one here in the middle, 2 of them. There are actually 7 in this little border here. For all the world, looking a little bit dead, certainly looking ropey. Let's have a closer look. Let's go in here. Look at that there. Right at the top of one of the twigs, a beautiful green leaf, just waiting in the wings. And let's have a little bit of a closer look further down in this plant. And here, do you see it there? A tiny, tiny little green leaf. Look at that. Amazing. Life in the wings waiting to burst out. And here down at the base of this one, we have new life. By the end of the summer, I imagine this will be a much denser and somewhat taller bamboo screen. Isn't that amazing? Wonderful. Nature's little miracle. Now look at these olive trees. 4 of them, standards, lollipops. I've had these for about 8 years now. They always come back. Olive trees are much more resilient than you think. Well, these are looking a little bit worse for wear. I didn't protect them in the winter time. I just left them exposed to those temperatures, which I mentioned already, -10. They've gone through a little bit of shock, shed off quite a few of their leaves, and all around on the floor you will see those leaves if you look closely. But that's not what we're here to look at now. We're here to look at these branches. Look at this. All around this plant, in the axils of the leaves and on the branches, there is evidence of new life. Look there. All bursting out, ready, waiting. Within a month, this will be a compact ball of fresh green growth, and you can see it here, waiting to come out. If you have an olive tree and it looks like this, or even if it looks worse than this, don't panic. Just be patient. Just wait. Let nature do its thing, because nature will do its thing, and nature will survive. It will survive most of us. It will be here long after we're gone. Look at it. Now, that is a Mediterranean style plant, and it's in my Mediterranean scented border along the side of this path, so that when you walk past it, you get the lovely aromas and the essential oils. We've got lavender, we've got rosemary, we've got thyme. If I rub that thyme, I have a little bit of a smell, sniff. Oh, it's powerful. Beautiful smell. But let's have a look at these bay trees which I rescued recently. Let's go over here. These were very severely damaged by the frost. You will have seen these in 2 of my recent videos, bay tree rescue. That one not so bad, but that one there, to all the world it looked dead. I repotted it, gave it some fresh soil, planted it out. Now, after only 4 weeks, let's zoom in and see if it's giving us any evidence of recovery. Look there, a green leaf, and that's on relatively green new wood, and you would expect that. And there's hundreds of them, they're everywhere. Look there, and there, on that one as well. What's amazing about this particular plant and this particular type of plant is it can sprout, just like the lilac did, from old wood. I'm going to go in and show you in here. Look at this. There, can you see it? Right there. Tiny, tiny little green shoot. And where there is warmth and heat and light and food and water, the ingredients for life with most plants will try the best for you and come back, as has this. And this is just doing incredibly well. Look there. Tiny little green shoot. All these green shoots, hundreds of them, if not thousands, will expand and grow and produce branches and new leaves, like this leaf at the end of this branch here. Before you know it, that little lollipop bay will be a dense bush, and the birds will be hopping out of that hedge into it and making all kinds of lovely noises for me. There we go, another one of nature's little miracles. I've just tried a similar thing with one of my olive trees down here, an extreme pruning experiment, and we'll see just how strong nature is. There are virtually no leaves left on this olive tree. I'm trying to kill it, see how robust it is, but I wager that this will be back with us within a few weeks. Whilst we're here, look at the beautiful acid green there of that bush. That was taken down to no more than a pile of twigs in the winter time. Look at it now. Absolutely wonderful. So let's finish this little mindful stroll, early morning stroll around the garden with a look at the Wildflower Mound over there next to the pond. This pond, you will see huge changes when it's planted. This pile of earth, I sowed some wildflowers into it about 3 weeks ago. Let's zoom in, see what's going on at soil level. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, tiny one there, everywhere. Thousands and thousands of seeds. There are also sunflowers in here. Within a month, once again, I say it, I repeat myself, that will be a mass and a variety of different wildflowers, hundreds of different species of wildflowers. And by the way, this is left over from last year's wildflowers. I buried the rest of the mound in the spoil from the soil, but that's what happens in year 2. They self-seed and they come back with a vengeance. You try and stop them. Isn't that lovely? Look, we've already got some wildflowers there. A pink one, a yellow one here. Look there on that one. Now look, black aphids there, look. Can you see? Black aphids, big and small, large and small. Enjoying life on this little bit of wildflower heaven in this corner of my garden now. I'm not alarmed by them. This is my wildlife garden. That is food for birds. They can stay there as long as they want. That's why I leave nettles. I always leave a little patch of nettles because nettles are so good in a wildlife garden. There's a patch here, there's a patch over there, and they will stay. And the butterflies will lay their eggs on those, and they'll run round and eat those and enjoy life there, and that's fine. And this is a self-seeded buddleia from the buddleia, which I showed you moments ago. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little mindful stroll around my garden. I should go make a cup of tea, edit this up and present it to you. And it's coronation day, so we're off to the in-laws to enjoy the coronation. Hope you have a lovely day and a lovely bank holiday weekend, and have some happy gardening wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.